Hey everyone, welcome back, and thanks for joining me again on Wednesday. This is Upon Further Review with Sean Tomlin. We're going to be looking back at week 9 and looking ahead to week 10. My apologies for my voice today and a little bit lateness of this video. I've been dealing with a little bit of a cold, so I'll try my best to bring you everything you need to know for last week and this upcoming week. So, let's look back at what happened last week in week 9. It all started off on Thursday with the Ravens taking on the Dolphins. The Ravens were able to take this victory 28-6 with Lamar Jackson coming back. Lamar Jackson was actually able to show the form of what he really is and show the league and everyone what the Ravens actually are. Now they were going up against the Dolphins, so take that with a grain of salt. We'll move on to Sunday's action. In the morning slate, we had the Colts going up against the Steelers. And the Steelers were able to take that victory 27-20. The Colts didn't look as good as they normally do. The Steelers were able to get a lot of pressure onto them and caused quite a few turnovers and some bad quarterback play by Daniel Jones. Considering that it was only a 7-point victory, it shows that these Colts are still the real deal, and they are still tied for top spot in the AFC at 7-2. In our next matchup, we had the Broncos going up against the Texans. This was a close matchup, ending with a field goal to take the victory. The Broncos took this 18-15. The Texans over the last 2 weeks have shown that they are a little bit more than what their record shows. In our next matchup, we had the Chargers going up against the Titans. The Chargers were able to take this 27-20. The Chargers have been a formidable offense and a formidable defense all season long, and they were able to show that against the Titans this weekend. Although the Titans haven't been too great, they were able to put up 20 points on a very good Chargers defense. In our next matchup, we had the Vikings going up against the Lions. The Lions were able to take this victory 27-24. I didn't see the Vikings taking this victory, but with the return of J.J. McCarthy, the offense started to look like they were humming. In our next matchup, we had the 49ers going up against the Giants, and the 49ers were able to easily take care of the Giants 34-24. In our next matchup, we had the Panthers going up against the Packers. And the Panthers were able to actually get this victory, a 16-13 win over the Packers, a tightly contested matchup. The Panthers took this one with being led by Rico Dowdle on the offensive side of the ball. In our next matchup, we had the Bears going up against the Bengals, and the Bears were able to take a slim victory over the slumping Bengals 47-24, even though the Bengals at a lot of moments looked like a very formidable team. But as the score shows, they just weren't able to do what they needed to do on the defensive side of the ball. As you can see behind me, my little kitty, Ember, has decided to join us on this episode. Try not to focus on her too much, but she is pretty cute, so although she's got her butthole pointing right there. Get out of the shot there, little one. Then we had the Falcons going up against the Patriots, and the Patriots have been playing good football lately. Screw them, because I hate the Patriots, but they were able to take this victory over the Falcons 24-23. In our next matchup, we had the Saints going up against the Rams. The Rams were able to easily handle the Saints 34-10. The Saints didn't look like much of a formidable offense, and also Spencer Rattler was benched for this game for Stroud, rookie quarterback drafted in the late first round last year. The Jaguars were going up against the Raiders, and the Jaguars were able to take this victory 30-29. A lot closer of a margin of victory than I thought it would be. I didn't think the Raiders were going to be able to put up as many points as they did, but everyone is proven wrong at some point in time. In our next matchup, we had the Chiefs going up against the Bills, and the Bills took this victory 28-21. The Bills, historically, over the past few years, have had the edge over the Chiefs in the regular season, but it's about the playoffs is where the Bills have never been able to get over the Bills over the Chiefs these past few years. So hopefully this is a trend that they'd like to keep going into the playoffs. Sunday Night Football wrapped up our Sunday action with the Seahawks going up against the Commanders with an ugly injury to Jaden Daniels. Although the game was much out of reach at that point in time, the Seahawks were able to take that victory 38-14 with a huge day by Sam Darnold. On Monday night, our action was finished up with the Cardinals going up against the Cowboys, and Jacoby Brissett was able to lead the Cardinals to a great victory over the Cowboys, proving once again that the Cowboys defense is in some serious trouble. But over the course of yesterday, there's some things that the Cowboys have addressed on their defensive side through the trade deadline. So we'll have to wait until this upcoming weekend to see if this helps fix some of their defensive woes. Looking ahead to the matchups next week, we've got the Raiders going up against the Broncos tomorrow night. I'm going to take the Broncos in this one because I just don't see the Raiders as a formidable offense, and they're very porous on defense. In our slate of action for the beginning of Monday morning, we have the Falcons going up against the Colts, and I'm going to be taking the Colts in this one, especially with their addition of Sauce Gardner at the trade deadline. The Colts have been looking like an amazing team, a huge turnaround from last year, and they're going to be playing in Berlin. So, will the jet lag be a problem? Only time will tell. In our next matchup, it'll be the Browns versus the Jets, and I will be taking the Browns on this one. Usually not a pick I pick very often. I don't usually go with the Browns, but the Jets, after doing a fire sale yesterday on the trade deadline, the Browns look like they're in position to get a victory there. Next, we have the Ravens going up against the Vikings. And with the return of J.J. McCarthy, I think this matchup will be very close. But in the end, I'll be taking the Ravens to win this game by a margin of probably about 3.5 points. Next matchup, we have the Saints going up against the Panthers. And with the Panthers' new resurgence and looking formidable on offense, I think it's going to be the Panthers going over the Saints, especially with the Saints stealing their top wide receiver, or second top wide receiver. Obviously, they still have Chris Olave. I still don't see the Saints having enough firepower to get over the hump and get past the Panthers. Then we're going to have the Patriots going up against the Buccaneers, and I don't ever pick the Patriots, so I'm going Buccaneers on this one. In our next matchup, we have the Giants going up against the Bears. And I think the Giants are actually going to take this game over the Bears. Although the Bears are the heavy favorite, I think the Giants have a little bit of mojo and a little bit of oomph in their step, and I think they're going to be able to get this victory. In our next matchup, we've got the Bills versus the Dolphins in an AFC East matchup, and I think the Bills are going to take this one easily. Next, we have the Jaguars versus the Texans, and I think the Texans, with the way that they've been trending the past few weeks, are going to take this matchup against the Jaguars, even though the Jaguars just acquired Jacoby Myers. In our next matchup, we got the Cardinals versus the Seahawks, and I'm going to be going Seahawks in this matchup. And this matchup actually starts our afternoon slate of games on Sunday. In our next matchup, we have the Rams versus the 49ers, and I don't think the 49ers, with the help of CMC, are going to be able to get over the Rams on this one. I see the 49ers putting up a good fight, but I see the Rams taking this in the very end. Then we have the Commanders going up against the Lions to finish our afternoon slate out. And I see the Lions taking this victory easily, especially with the loss of Jaden Daniels on the Commanders side. Then on Sunday Night Football, we have the Steelers going up against the Chargers. And I think the Steelers are going to be able to take this victory easily over the Chargers. To finish up our week of matchups, we've got the Eagles going up against the Packers, and I think the Packers have this matchup in their bag. All right, so let's get on to some more stuff here. We're going to go into our next segment, my top threes at all positions last week. At quarterback, leading the way was Caleb Williams, followed by Joe Flacco and Sam Darnold. For running backs, we had Christian McCaffrey, Rico Dowdle, and Monagi. For the Bears, he was able to put in a lot of good work with DeAndre Swift being out. For wide receivers, we had Drake London, T. Higgins, who had an amazing catch for a 44-yard touchdown, and DJ Moore. Then we had tight end Brock Bowers, and the tight end for the Bears, Mr. Loveland, and Dalton Kincaid. For defenses, we had the Titans, Steelers, and Falcons in that order. In our next segment here, I've got my perfect lineup for you. In my perfect lineup, we've got, this week, I've got Jared Goff at quarterback, James Cook and Rico Dowdle for my running backs, Cortland Sutton and Rashid Shaheed for wide receivers. Tight ends, I have Juwan Johnson. For my flex, I'm going Christian McCaffrey. And for defense, I'm going Browns. So let's look back at what happened last week in Clusterfuck 2. In our first matchup, we had my team, Hot Chub Time Machine, LLC, going up against HN and the Membrane, Bianca's team. It was a highly contested matchup that ended with a 162.4 to 149.6 victory over Bianca. In our next matchup, we had Ty's team, Protect Your Holes, going up against Graham's team, the Bench Whisperers. And Ty was able to take this victory 140.10 to 111.10. In our next matchup, we had Simon's team, the Mark Davis Bullcut, going up against Shane's team, the GB Packers. Thank you for bumping my head again all these times, Ember. In that matchup, we had Simon's team taking the victory 166.75 to 117.45. In our next matchup, we had Les's team, Chase Ventura, going up against Nathan's team, Don't Be a Kyron. Don't Be a Kyron, Nathan's team was able to take this victory 135.00 to 126.30. In our final matchup of the week, it was Dan's team, Pass the Touch, going up against Caden's team, Riley Read Me a Book. It was a 161.10 victory for Caden over Dan, who had 150.95. Before we look ahead at what the matchups are going to be for this upcoming week in the league, let's look at the standings. In the standings, in the Happy Gilmore division, we've got Simon's team, the Mark Davis Bullcut, leading with 6-3-0 record, followed by Dan's team at 5-3-1, Shane's team at 4-5, Graham's team at 3-5-1, and rounding out, sitting on the outside of the playoffs, Caden's team at 3-6. In the other division, the Shooter McAdjivan division, my division, we have Hot Chub Time Machine, LLC, my team, leading the way at 6-3. In second place, tied at 6-3, is Ty's team, Protect Your Holes. Then we have Les's team at 5-4, Nathan's team at 4-5, and rounding out, sitting on the outside of the playoffs at 2-7, Bianca's team. Let's look ahead to the matchups that are happening in Week 10 in the league. We've got my team, Hot Chop Time Machine, going up against Les's team, Chase Ventura. Les is going to need this victory, but I want it to. Not a very good argument there. I apologize. Then we have Nathan's team, Don't Be a Kyron, going up against Shane's team, GB Packers. Then we have the Bench Whisperers going up against Riley Read Me a Book. That's Graham's team versus Caden's team. Then we have HN and the Membrane, Bianca's team, going up against Ty's team, Protect Your Holes. And we have Simon's team, the Mark Davis Bullcut, going up against Dan's team, Pass the Dutch. So that rounds out all the matchups that were happening in Clusterfuck 2. So let's go down and go to our Goal to Go segment to finish off the show. Before we get there, if you like this video, please like, comment, and share to get this video out to more people. If you really like this video and you really like the show, hit the subscribe button to get updates whenever new videos are being put out. Sorry, Ember is down there playing with my stand, so don't mind that part there. Also, if you enjoy this, maybe you'll enjoy going to our Instagram page at upon.furtherreview, where I'll be doing UFR reports from time to time, giving you information on injured players, players to watch, players to pick up, and news around the NFL. All right, let's get to our final thoughts segment here. The trade deadline was yesterday, and we saw Sauce Gardner go to the Indianapolis Colts for 2 first-round picks and Adonai Mitchell. Apparently, that dropped ball that would have been a touchdown was a huge thing for Adonai Mitchell, because that signaled his last few days with the Indianapolis Colts. Also, we had Jacoby Myers getting out of the Las Vegas Raiders like he wanted and going to the Jaguars. Kyler Murray was put on IR, so Jacoby Brissett will be leading the way for at least the next 4 games. CJ Stroud is going to be out against the Jaguars this weekend. Quinn Williams from the Jets and the linebacker Wilson from the Bengals go to the Dallas Cowboys at the trade deadline. Rashid Shaheed goes to the Seahawks at the trade deadline. Also, Jalen Daniels injured his arm and looks to be done for the season. Not too sure why Dan Quinn had him in there in a game where they were already down by 3 scores, but apparently that was the decision he wanted to make. We're going to round out today with Val Scantling going to the Steelers. He was picked up, and hopefully he'll have a little bit of a resurgence being back with Aaron Rodgers. Well, thanks for joining me today. Hopefully you enjoyed this show, and we'll see you next week, where I'll break down everything you need to know.